what we'll see is the rebellion of the human heart. It says in verse 1, when Samuel became old, he made his sons judges over Israel. Yet his sons did not walk in his way, but turned aside after gain. They took bribes and perverted justice. So we're entering into chapter 8, and you're starting with the declining years of Samuel's life. He's faithfully served Israel as a prophet and as a judge. He's traveled from town to town, administering justice, reminding people of God's covenant with them. But as Samuel's aged, he appointed his sons, Joel and Abijah, to carry on his role. And here's the tragedy. Instead of walking in Samuel's righteous ways, his sons turned aside and they went after dishonest gain. Took bribes, perverted justice. And you should see a mirror here. Doesn't this mirror what we saw earlier in the book of Samuel? The failure of Eli's sons, Hophni and Phinehas, who desecrated their priestly roles. But unlike Eli, Samuel's integrity isn't called into question in the text. Before, Eli was called into question for having unfaithful sons that he didn't try to stop. Here, nothing is asked about Samuel. The blame lies with Joel and Abijah alone. But the damage caused was real. The elders of Israel, they see this moral failure, they see a leadership crisis, and so they, in verse 5, demand a king. They say, appoint for us a king to judge us like all the nations. Now look, on the surface, this looks like a logical solution. Right? I mean, corrupt leadership is damaging. But their solution is not only practical, it shows a deeper rejection of God's authority. You can see that in verse 7. Verse 7 clarifies what's going on, what's up in the text. It says, God says to Samuel, they have not rejected you, they have rejected me from being king over them. Israel's rejection of Samuel's sons, it wasn't just a rejection of Samuel. In fact, it was something more than that. It was a rejection of God himself. Now listen, we shouldn't be surprised, especially in light of what we heard Ben read to us from Hebrews. It said pretty much the same thing. Israel's heart has often strayed from God. From the golden calf at Mount Sinai, their repeated worship of Baal, especially if you go through the book of Judges, Israel has shown this consistent pattern. When trust in God becomes too hard or too abstract, they quickly run to whatever visible, tangible solution they have. They preferred idols that they can see and touch instead of faith in the invisible God. I want a plan that I can take action on, not trusting God and doing what's right. And so it's just another kind of rebellion. They want a worldly solution to what is ultimately a spiritual problem.